Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Humanity Matters broadcast. I am your. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Humanity Matters Weekly. I am your host, Dr. Philip Fletcher, where we discuss and reflect on faith and philosophy and nonprofit leadership and social issues. We want to engage ideas on what it means to be a free human being in the pursuit of human flourishing. We're coming live today on Facebook. You can also find this uh, episode up on my YouTube channel. Just look up Philip Fletcher. You'll see the Humanity Matters logo. So jump over to YouTube. You can subscribe there to the channel and get all the some great content. As always, please like my page, Dr. Philip Fletcher. Also, find me on Instagram, Dr. Philip Fletcher, as well as on Twitter at Phil Fletcher. You got a question, comment, you want to say, hey, that was a great thought. Hey, I didn't like that thought. Hey, let's engage together. Let's discuss. Send me an email at humanitymatterspodcast@gmail.com. And as always, go to my website, philipfletcher.org. That is Philip Fletcher. That's Philip with two L's, Fletcher.org. So, hey, quote of the week comes from an influential man of mine, Howard Thurman, in his book, Jesus and the Disinherited. And he speaks about this, and this is going to become critical about some of the things I'm going to be talking about today, especially as it relates to divisive memes and blackness, that concept. But he says this, speaking of Jesus, he recognized with authentic realism that anyone who permits another to determine the quality of his inner life gives into the hands of the other the keys to his destiny. Let me say that again. Speaking of Jesus, this is what Howard Thurman wrote. He recognized with authentic realism that anyone who permits another to determine the quality of his inner life gives into the hands of the other the keys to his destiny. Hey, those are some good words. Just briefly, let's just riff on what Howard Thurman was speaking about. Hey, don't give somebody the opportunity, don't give somebody the power to define who you are. We have 100 different things that shape who we are, that shapes our identity as individual human beings. So we're going to interact with family members. We're going to interact at schools, sporting events, the workplace, hobbies, good experiences, bad experiences. All of these kind of speak into your life. But at the end of the day, you have the power to pick and choose what of those are going to have great influence over your life and shape who you are and how you speak and how you look at the world. And those things you're going to take and set aside and be like, no, I don't want that. And so be careful. All right. Be careful. Be authentic in who you are. One, as a person made in the image and likeness of God, you have dignity and you have worth. And so that's me seeking to influence something good over your life to help shape your identity. But more than that, all your experiences that you've gone through, good and bad, the people that have been brought into your life, the different spheres of life that you are moving in and out of, those are going to shape who you are. And so don't let someone tell you who you are not because you don't think a certain way, or you speak a particular way, or you believe a particular way, or you vote a particular way. Don't give people power over your inner life and who you are, because in doing so, they can shape your destiny. Some words to think about today from good old Howard Thurman. Hey, I want to thank our sponsors, John N., Bradley M., and Mr. Sullivan. Hey, if you would like to sponsor the Humanity Matters Weekly show, hit me up. Just send me an email, humanitymatterspodcast@gmail.com. Also, you can just hit me up on PayPal. pfletcher73@gmail.com. Also, you can find me on Cash App and Venmo. Hey, sponsor. Hey, sponsor for a month, as little as $5. Hey, I'll shoot you a gift, give you a shout out, because I appreciate everybody's support in being able to provide, I hope to believe, helpful content that will help in the pursuit of men and women seeking to flourish as human beings. So this week, hey, you can catch me on Arkansas PBS as I discuss steps for sustainable change regarding race. It's a special broadcast called Healing the Divide, and that's going to be available Thursday, October 1st, 2020. So if you live here in Arkansas, just check the programming guide. You'll see what time that is supposed to be airing. So, hey, welcome again to the Amanda Matters Weekly. And so we're going to jump on some things. Hey, Heather, great question, and I'll take it. Do you recall any scriptures from the Bible where Jesus referenced a person by the color of their skin? Hey, Heather, no, I do not. Typically, when you read through the scripture, typically persons were referred to obviously by name, by trade, by tribal affiliation. Okay? Trade, occupation, or tribal affiliation. The only references I can think of in regards to a person's skin color is more so in the description of them. So when you think about Song of Solomon, when the bride is thinking about his bridegroom, her skin color is referenced to. Obviously, when we read the book of Revelation, we hear John in the writing the Revelation on Patmos. In his revelation of Jesus Christ returning, he describes the hair as wool and his skin as of bronze. Okay, so directly to your question, no, I cannot think of one specific instance in which Jesus referenced a person by skin. That was not how the ancient Near East thought about individuals. The ancient Near East was more communal or communitarian. So it was more tribal, okay? And affiliations, basically if you were Roman or if you were Persian or if you were Babylonian, obviously if you were someone from one of the tribes of Israel, all right? Samaritan. So we see those descriptions, and typically that's how individuals related to one another, was on the basis of their affiliation, which is actually a good segue into my next topic. So, hey, Heather, I appreciate your question. Thanks very much. In fact, Heather, you inbox me your address, and I'm going to send you a gift. So I appreciate that question, and I'm going to give you a good old like because of that. I appreciate your question, Heather. So, hey, meme time. All right. So, been looking at memes lately, right? And how memes can be used to be funny haha moments, okay? But also memes can be used to sow division. Like social media is just a vessel, right? It's an instrument. It's a tool, right? And as long as social media just sits there, it does nothing. It just sits there. But when we fill it with things, what social media is actually doing, it is putting on display how we feel about ourselves, what we think about our lives, and then what we think about other people. All right. I know there's a Netflix documentary going on, the Social Dilemma, right? And it's looking at the impact of social media and how it's actually being used back on us, right? Even now, I'm using social media to talk to you today. So I'm trying to fill social media with content that's going to have people flourish as human beings, right? But social media also can be used excuse me, to bring human beings down. So first up, all right. Now, as we know, the grand jury announced their findings in regards to Breonna Taylor in Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky is where I'm from. All transparency, born there in 1973. My parents still live there. My sister and my brother-in-law live there. I got family that live there in Louisville, Kentucky. So I have deep ties to that great city and state, Louisville, Kentucky. I'm a Louisville Cardinals fan to the day I die. But as we know, what came out this week was there were no charges filed in relationship to the death of Breonna Taylor, but there were charges, 3 counts filed against a police officer for shooting through an apartment wall. So Mr. Cameron, who is the Kentucky Attorney General there, he is a black man, all right? And he's been catching a lot of grief, right? He's been catching a lot of grief because this man, as the Attorney General, has laws that he needs to follow. And so the grand jury, made up of Kentucky citizens, were given the evidence and they made their findings. The governor, Brashears, has called on the Attorney General to release the grand jury report, which I'm all for, so that everybody can see how they arrived at their conclusions, right? But in the midst of all that, people have been circulating a meme on social media, and it has a picture of it's 5 black men. Now, this is just the irony of everything, right? Black Lives Matter. We should build up our black men, the black community. You know, black men and women should be progressing and flourishing and be full participants and citizens in the United States. And yet, then we get this kind of stuff floating around the internet. So you've got a picture of Ben Carson, who is currently serving as in the cabinet of President Donald Trump as the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. You've got Senator Tim Scott, the only black senator, the only black senator in Congress, in the United States Senate, right, from South Carolina, Tim Scott, who put forward the crime bill that got defeated. Anyways, you got Kanye West, then you've got Mr. Cameron, and then you've got Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Now, across the meme, it says, all skin folk ain't kin folk. What do these men have in common? 1, they're black males. 2, these men are serving at some of the highest levels of government at the state and federal level. At least 4 of them are. 1 of them is running for president of the United States. All right. The other thing they have in common, at least 4 of them that I know. I don't know about, well, yes, I do. Ben Carson, Tim Scott, Mr. Cameron, and Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, all of them tend to the right. So whether conservative or Republican. All right. So they are outside of what would be considered the norm in terms of the voting patterns and the political persuasions of black men and women. Like President Barack Obama, he got overwhelmingly 85% of the black vote, right? Blacks tend to vote with Democrats 80% of the time. But because these 5 men, okay, think differently, have a different approach to politics, have a different approach to policy, okay, and in the case of David Cameron, because the findings did not match what people were wanting, and I understand that, okay, all skin folk ain't kin folk. So, in other words, these ain't real black men. Like, think about this. Like, Dr. Ben Carson is a neurosurgeon. Senator Tim Scott is the only black U.S. senator. Did Democrats have one? Help me out. I can't think of one. Libertarians have one? I can't think of one. Kanye West, with all of his stuff, right? He's still putting himself forward to run for president of the United States. He can. He's over the age, right? He meets all the constitutional requirements. He's trying to get on ballots. He's on the ballot here in Arkansas. Clarence Thomas is a Supreme Court justice, following in the lines of Thurgood Marshall. Mr. Cameron, the Attorney General for the entire state of Kentucky. So because these men don't think a particular way, they're not within this tribe. Again, let me go back to Mr. Thurman, okay? There are people out there trying to shape their inner being to, you have to think this way. If you vote this way, if you believe this way, then you are black. Then you are kinfolk. You are family. You belong to the tribe. You have our protection, our allegiance, our support. But just because we have the same skin color doesn't really make you black. That's a divisive thing. And I believe better things of us. So another one came out, and this is about the Democratic vice presidential candidate, Kamala Harris. Now, from the other state that I have a great familiarity with, California. Now, Kamala Harris would go on to be the state attorney general there. But during her time, it is reported that she had a relationship with Willie Brown. Okay. And in this meme, Willie Brown was a elected official in California too. It skips my mind what he was. But it said, the meme says this: married 60-year-old Willie Brown, his 29-year-old mistress, or what would be called today side piece, all right, Kamala. Okay. Again, what does her previous relationships have anything to do with the policies that she is running on as it relates to being the vice presidential candidate along with the Democratic presidential candidate, Joe Biden? What does this meme have to do with the policies that she advocates for? So again, this meme is meant to be divisive. It is meant to denigrate this lady in regard to her personal choices that she made in her personal life. Okay. Instead of keeping persons focused on what are our policies? What are our policies in regards to, COVID? What are our policies in regards to education? What are our policies in regards to healthcare, foreign policy, so on and so forth? Those are the things that we should be focused on. So my encouragement to everybody, before you post a meme, ask yourself, why are you posting this? 2, is your intent to inform, or is your intent to exacerbate some level of ignorance? Are you posting this meme so that you can educate, or are you posting this meme so that you can denigrate somebody? Again, how is it that we can flourish as human beings? Hey, if you got a question, hey, hit me up, humanitymatterspodcast@gmail.com. Find me on my website, philipfletcher.org. Also, jump over on your Apple Podcast, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcast. Look up the Humanity Matters podcast. I got some different content that happens over there in regards to social issues, philosophy, nonprofit leadership, and the such. As well, you can find me on Instagram, here on Facebook, Dr. Philip Fletcher. So we're jumping forward. Hey, President Donald Trump, man. I don't know what's up with you, bruh. But hey, paid taxes, $750. Now, the New York Times is coming out with an article today, Sunday, about President Donald Trump and his taxes and avoidance, right? Now, what's illegal is evasion. There's nothing illegal about avoidance, right? The other thing that we have to consider is this, and now I'm not defending President Donald Trump, but hear me out here. There are laws in place that have been passed by Democrat and Republican congresspersons and signed into law by Democrat and Republican presidents in regards to tax laws and how particular persons of certain economic persuasion are able to afford particular persons to be able to find ways to avoid to pay taxes. But it's in the laws. Now, my encouragement to everybody is this, is that you just do away or reduce the IRS significantly and you just pay a flat tax. Or you just pay a tax on what you buy. That would just solve everything. It would. Here's the other thing. Let's not be hypocrites here. How many of us really want to pay federal taxes? How many of you really want to pay state taxes? How many of you really would like to just keep all of your money and then just give it as you choose? Let's be for real. So, you know, President Donald Trump, he's got some stuff to answer for. I mean, he's president, right? But let's not be silly here. He's following the laws. Avoidance is not illegal. Evasion is illegal. Again, persons from both parties have passed laws to benefit their wealthy selves so that they ain't got to pay taxes. Like, how about we put all the Congress and Senate on Front Street with their taxes? Y'all might be shook. Y'all might be shook. You might be shook. Those are my thoughts. So, moving on from there. Alrighty, we got a couple minutes left. Hey, the plans. Well, President Donald Trump this past weekend, he let out his platinum plan for Black America, right? And the platinum plan, and I'll make sure to put this in the video section, okay? It covers opportunity, security, prosperity, and fairness. Okay, some of the elements or part of the plan, he goes over what he's done the last 4 years. And then moving forward, he talks about these areas: Black economic empowerment and access to capital, better and cheaper healthcare, safety and justice, more education opportunities. Those are the areas that it's broken down to. All right, now, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden, he had a Biden plan for Black America that was profiled on medium.com, and I'll make sure to put that out there too. And this was talked about on May 4th. All right, and he gives a whole presentation on what he wants to do for Black America. Now, it got me thinking, is there any other ethnic group that's got a plan? Excuse me. Well, I went to the president's website, and then he issued on July 9th, 2020, the executive order on the White House Hispanic Prosperity Initiative. Okay? And it lays out some things for the Hispanic community, quote unquote. So here's my thing about these type of plans that are specific to a particular group of people. All right. So according to the population estimates by the U.S. Census, all right, and this is as of July 1st, 2019. Now I got it. We're going through the whole census thing right now, so these numbers are going to change. All right. So white alone, the percentage in America is 76%. Black or African American alone, 13.4%. Okay. So on and so forth. Hispanic or Latino, 18.5%. White alone, not Hispanic or Latino percent, 60.1%. Two or more races percent, 2.8%. Asian, 5.9%. So there's other people in there. So my question is, where's the Asian plan? 0.2% is Native Hawaiian. Where's their plan? Where's the white plan? I'm saying this stuff to say this. If, as you read through these plans, the one that President Donald Trump put out in regards to the Platinum Plan, in regards to the Hispanic plan that was through his executive order, through the Biden plan for America, okay, the language is interchangeable for any American. Thus, it offers the question, it begs the question, why not just offer regulatory relief, criminal justice reform, health reform, etc., because it'll just impact all of us. And then by extension, it will benefit the maximum number of persons. All right? Let's expand opportunity. You're not going to have equal outcomes, all right? But you can expand opportunity so that more people have opportunities to choose how they will to impact their lives. But here's the other thing. It does provide some people an argument to argue against reparations because money is being made accessible to a particular group on the basis of physical characteristics. And again, it moves the government to offer preferences to one group on the basis of some physical characteristic which others cannot share in. They're excluded. Like, that always goes bad. It just does not go well because then it pits one group against another group. People will get all disgruntled. People will be like, well, you got this. Why are you still complaining? Well, you're getting this. Why you keep talking about systemic racism? Well, you're getting this. Why you keep arguing about reparations? Well, you're getting this, and look at the outcomes that are happening. Like, so I would just love to see a plan that would just benefit the maximum amount of men and women and children, regardless of their physical characteristics. What would that look like? And so for Biden, for Trump, for Jorgensen, y'all have the opportunity to offer plans which can actually create a greater environment of freedom, reduce preferential treatment, and as a consequence, reduce the possibility of bitterness and tribalism that can happen. Those are my words. Hey, so finally, this past weekend, we had two rallies happen. One was a prayer rally. All right. The other was a rally against hate. All right. And so there's this group called The Return. They had this big old rally. They had rallies happening across the state and then United States, and one big one in Washington, D.C., and there was one here in Conway, Arkansas. And the way it was advertised, it was a prayer rally. At the very bottom, it had our mayor and his wife's name. Now, it didn't say Mayor Bart Castleberry. It just said Bart Castleberry and his wife's name. I'm not going to put his wife's name out here. And people, other groups took that as it was a city endorsement of this particular group. Okay. I went to the group's website because it was mentioned that, they were bigoted and, that homosexuals was a plan of Satan, and that Islam was an evil religion, because they had it in quotes, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Okay. But it was a prayer rally, and it was a more of a charismatic leaning type movement because of some of the scriptures that they were referencing. Okay. But as I looked at the pictures and people that was there's a lot of people that I recognized at the rally, all right, who were non-charismatic types, who were just people getting together to walk and pray. And I think our nation needs a lot of prayer right now. Okay. But the response was this rally against hate. So it happened in the same area as the prayer rally. All right. And so they were going to be there to be a demonstration against homophobia and bigotry and lamenting the direction that the city has gone. Now, I just find it interesting, everybody's interpretation of how the city of Conway has gone, right? For some, Conway has gotten too racist. For others, Conway has gotten bigoted. For others, Conway is like a bastion now for white supremacy, so on and so forth, right? And, you know, to be fair, right? If you're going to assign guilt by association in regards to the mayor participating in this rally, then I also have to ask, because I know for this rally of hate, there's some UCA professors. So does UCA endorse the rally for hate? Like the rally for hate is saying that the city is endorsing the prayer rally that happened? You can't have it both ways, because actually, looking at the logo of the advertisement, Mr. Castleberry was participating in his private capacity, not in an official capacity. Just like I know a professor at this rally for hate, I'm sure they're participating in a private capacity, not as a representative of the University of Central Arkansas. Just saying. Let's challenge. Like, let's sit down. Let's talk with one another. Let's get informed. Okay? Stop talking past one another. Hey, this has been the Humanity Matters Weekly. I'm your host, Dr. Philip Fletcher. Hey, I got some nonprofits out there. Go check out the City of Hope Outreach. That's coho58.org. We're celebrating 13 years of work here in Conway. I appreciate y'all very much. We have a community development initiative called Hope Village that is going on right now. Check that out as well. hopevillagecoho.org. Also, our nonprofit startup, Replicate. You can find that on Facebook. Hey, for more information about what I'm doing, visit my website, philipfletcher.org. Also, find me on YouTube at Humanity Matters. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and Spotify and wherever else you get your podcast listening pleasure. And as always, remember this: to be loved, to be kind, to be generous. And if we remember to live in hope, we can do the impossible. Y'all take care. God bless.